Hi all, Planetside Agent here. Today I'm going to go over my cook kit that I used for backpacking for many years. It's, I guess you could call it a classic or vintage now because they don't make these anymore. Anyway, so that's the deal. So anyway, what I have here, back when I started backpacking in the early 70s, yeah, I picked this up. I think the main reason I probably went with this pot, I think this is the same one that, at least the same brand that Colin Fletcher, who wrote The Complete Walker and several other books. It's kind of where I learned a lot of my backpacking was by reading his book first. So anyway, and these were quite popular pots. I used to see them in climbing books. You'd see at the base camps and stuff. You'd see these pots being used. So they were kind of everywhere. I think they kind of lost out back when they had the aluminum Alzheimer scare. It probably didn't help these guys, but it's an excellent pot. It's made by, if I didn't already say, SIGG, S-I-G-G, from Switzerland. Make sure I'm staying in frame here. I have a problem with that. Anyway, so let me see. I don't want to go over the contents of my cook kit first or the pots. I think I'll just do the cook kit first. So a lot of the stuff I used was because that's what was available at the time, and they didn't have the lighter weight stuff, although this was pretty light for the day. Pots tended to be a little bit bigger. I talked to somebody about it, about some of the older stoves, how wide the pot stands were. Well, that's because back in those days, wide bottom pots were probably more common than the narrow ones you see today, the 750s and the 400s, which are a little bit narrower. But anyway, so yeah, I guess I'll just go over the kit first, and then we'll discuss the pot, because I have over here some other SIGG stuff. So anyway, so the pot came with a lid, and it was a deep lid that could also double as a frying pan. I might go a little more of that. And then I had my teacup. I think I bought just about everything in here from REI. So this was a standard teacup you could get. I really liked it. I liked the plastic one because you could hold it and it retained the heat a little bit better than a metal cup. And also, it was a little bit lighter. I had a spoon, just a spoon. Most of my meals, well, all my meals, backpacking meals, I could eat with a spoon. There was some kind of a glop or a soup or something. So I didn't need if I needed a knife, I had my pocket knife, and I didn't need a fork. And I don't like sporks. I don't know why you need one. But the one pot meals I made, a spoon's all you need for breakfast and for, because, oatmeal and that sort of stuff, granola. And dinner, like I said, was some sort of a glop. And then I had the old pot grabbers. Am I staying in frame here? That's to grab the pot. Although this does have a bail. And also, you could grab the Fit Perfect for the lid, to use it as a frying pan, or to take it on and off when it was hot. So next, I had this little stainless steel cup. It's called a Rocky cup. A lot of people used to use the old Sierra Club cups, but I didn't like those because they were kind of wide, so they tended to want to slop everything out, where this one's a little bit deeper. It's I probably should just use one of the little plastic ones that are the same design, but I kind of like this one. It's probably way heavier than what I should. In future, I'm not going to be using this sort of stuff. Next, I have my Trangia kettle, which makes you stand in frame here, which I really love. I've used this thing hundreds of times, even sometimes I'd bring the kit, my stove, my old Bluette stove, and this with some IT, and make tea in a hotel room or something. They didn't have a kitchenette or anything like that. So, yeah, I really like this little guy. And one of the things I like about having a separate kettle as opposed to the pot, I only boil water in this. I don't make coffee in it or anything like that because I don't, I want my tea and my coffee to taste like tea and coffee. I don't know if you've ever had the experience, but coffee tends to taint whatever it's in, and then after that, if you have tea or anything else, it's going to taste like coffee. And same with, I could have used this to boil my tea water in the morning, but then it would taste like last night's dinner, and I really don't like, hot dog coffee or tea that tastes of hot dog. So I always carried a separate kettle. Anyway, and this, this is the, I'll just go over the pot now. This is the SIGG, this is the 2-quart. I like the 2-quart because oftentimes I went with one or two friends and we do all of our cooking in this. So this, I'd bring this kit and all they had to bring was their, a cup to eat their food out of and or a cup for making, having their coffee. As a side note, I had a friend, he only brought 1 cup. And in the morning, he'd have his oatmeal out of the cup. And then he would make Tang, if anybody remembers that, liquid orange juice mix. And that would rinse out the floaties and stuff from the oatmeal. And then after the Tang course, he'd brew hot tea. And that would basically clean out the sugar and all from the Tang and kind of clean out the cup a little bit. So that was his routine. Me, I guess he didn't mind his tea tasting like oatmeal or Tang. Me, the only thing I ever put in here was tea. That was my main thing back then for backpacking because it was just easier to deal with tea than it was mess with coffee, making coffee on the trail. So, and at that time, whether you made instant coffee or tea, it was a push. So I just stuck with tea. So anyway, back to this. Yeah, so I always brought this one because I usually went with somebody. I didn't solo back then, and so it was good for 2 meals. And like I said, with this nice sized pot, this thing was a cook pot. I could also use it as a sink for cleaning up dishes if I put a little water in here with some soap. So it would act as a sink. I also used it as a laundry tub because I've done, like wash my t-shirt, put a little soap in there with water, and then it'd be to wash my shirt. And then I've also used it as a bathtub. So I'd fill this with hot water and do an oriental type sponge bath and then just use this to rinse with. So this thing was a bathtub, a sink, a washing tub, and a cook pot. So kind of, if anybody remembers, that was the old deal with the World War II and before they had the new Kevlar type helmets in the Army, the old steel pots, they used to use those for bathing out of, washing clothes, cooking, because they were steel. But so same principle. So, yep. So it was really a great pot. I'm kind of sad to see that they aren't around anymore. But it has a locking bail, a wide bail. So if you wanted to, say, to hang it over a fire or whatever, and you're going to pour from it, you can always pour. You see that? That'll pour out. Okay, and then it had on the side, it had these. So if you had one of the, I don't have one, but the kind of pot holders that were kind of like an L shape, you could just put that in there, and then you could do it like that too. So it was very, very flexible for however you wanted to deal with it. Like I said, the pot, the lid fit on there nice and snug, and it wasn't too hard to get off. I just get it off with the, when it was hot, you could kind of lift it up and then grab the pot holder. And like I said, this thing could also be used as a fry pan, or you could eat out of it. So yeah, it was very, very, very flexible. So anyway, that's the 2-quart one. Now, when I first started getting into it, I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to do, and I refined stuff, and I went ahead and bought some other things that worked with the SIGG. They had aluminum plates, and I bought 2 of them, figuring, you know, 2 people, you'd eat out of plates. Yeah, it's kind of, don't need to do that with backpacking, but you know, if you, not necessarily for backpacking, but for car camping and all. And these plates nested together very nicely, and then they would fit on top of the pot, so it made a really nice compact kit, which I was really impressed with. So, but you know, actually, if you look at these, I've never used them because like I said, I decided that I didn't need the weight, and the only thing I was going to cook was you know, soup and rice, kind of glop meals in here anyway, so I really didn't need a plate. I just serve it up out of the cup or eat it directly out of the pot. So, and then well, actually, they made these in various sizes. They made some bigger than this. I think maybe up to 4 quarts. I don't remember, but they all nest together. And I did buy the smaller one. Yeah, I never did use it. I bought it, thought I might need it, and I never did. But it's basically the same, exact same design as the 2 quart. They're all the same. It's the big heavy bale, which is nice. And again, they would all nest together. In there. And so there you go. You got 2 pots, 2 plates in this compact kit. Didn't weigh anything. So it was a pretty nice setup. I was really impressed with it. And I thought about later when I was going to outfit my kids, when they started backpacking, I thought about, I'll just get them, you know, another SIGG pot. But by then, they stopped making them, which is too bad. I tried to look around to get them because I really like the pots. They're really nice. And I'm not worried about Alzheimer. And I'm almost 70, and so far I still have my faculties. So that if I'm losing that, it's not from aluminum. It'd probably be from alcohol. But anyway, so that was my cook kit. Like I said, it all fit in the pot here. There you go. So that was my vintage original backpacking cook kit, and hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.